guys, time for an update, let you know what's going on around here. Let me first say happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there, and Semper Fi to all my brothers. We really appreciate you and everything you've done. Happy Veterans Day. I put in a 200 amp panel in the house. I'm using that as a critical loads panel. So I've got all my critical stuff on there for the house. It's mainly the lights, refrigerators, freezers. I've got like, what now, 3 chest freezers and three refrigerators, two big refrigerators and 1 small refrigerator. And then I've got this shop wired, so right now we're running on solar here. But really, this video, I wanted to get into what I'm doing with the microgrid project. I got in a Growatt Min 5000 TLX, and that's going to be the inverter for the building I was talking about, the chicken coop. So what I want to do is put the Growatt in there, and we're going to do just a real redneck kind of install on the solar panels, because the roof is kind of crappy and it's got a lot of leaks and stuff. So at some point, I mean, right now it doesn't really matter because whatever's in there, I don't care if it gets a little wet or whatever. But I don't want to put any money into a permanent solar panel installation on that roof right now, because it's going to be tore off within a year or so anyways. So what we're going to do, we're going to just screw down some 2x4s onto the outside of the roof, and then the solar panels are going to be attached to the 2x4s. This is kind of just a proof of concept kind of thing. Get it going, see how things turn out. So got the main inverter right now is the Solus S6. That's an 11.4 kilowatt inverter, and that's been running rock solid. I've been running, like I say, the house loads and the shop, and then during the day I've got an Antminer S19 running on there too to use up some more of the power. I can probably get away with running 2 on there, no problem, because during the day I've got a lot of excess power. And the Antminer I've got right now, it's only running about 2,900 watts, I think, somewhere in there. I've got it throttled back a little bit, so I should be able to throw 2 of those on there. But for right now, it's fine. So what we're going to do with this system now, it's an off-grid system, totally off-grid. I disconnected the power company from the system. I had it on there temporarily to start off with, but now, I mean, I can switch. I think I've got a 30 amp breaker from the main panel to the critical loads panel that I can switch if I need backup. So I'm using the grid only for a backup. I've got a generator interlock. I'll show you that. I'll put a picture of what, or maybe I'll do a short video of the generator interlock. So I'm going to put up a couple short clips of the critical loads panel and that interlock that I was talking about, and then the old panel. What a rat's nest that thing is. I can't believe some of these electricians. No pride in workmanship at all. And this was after I cleaned up a bunch of stuff in there. I had no idea it was so bad. So here you go. So I can't have the Solus and the grid on at the same time. Um, so I put a generator interlock on there, so to prevent that. Instead of a generator, it's the solar coming in. So what we're going to set up here is the Solus is going to be the main grid forming inverter. And that's going to provide, since it's an off-grid situation, we don't have any synchronization available from the grid for the Growatt to synchronize with. So since the Solus is a grid forming inverter, that's going to supply, here in the US, it's going to supply the 60 hertz that we need for the Growatt to synchronize. So once the Growatt sees that 60 hertz, when we turn it on, it'll look for the 60 hertz to synchronize with. Once it sees that, it'll start up and start generating power. So what's going to happen is the Growatt is going to be connected into this critical loads panel. So it's going to be dumping power into the critical loads panel as long as power is required. If, let's say, the Growatt doesn't need any more power for, say, battery charging or whatever loads are on the system, it'll adjust the AC to either throttle down or throttle up the Growatt. And if it gets too far, like say the battery's fully charged and we have no more loads that are required on the system, so the Growatt will be ramping its power up or down depending on what the Solus is calling for. This is a standard, an IEEE standard called 1547-2018. Both the inverters are compliant to that standard, so they'll work with each other. So what we've got, the Growatt is going to be the DER. That stands for Distributed Energy Resource. So we could put as many of these smaller inverters on as the bigger inverter can handle. Now, I ran into a little conundrum with Solus. According to the manual, it says for AC coupled systems not to exceed the nameplate rating. So that would be 11.4 kilowatts. But I put that question to technical support, and they're saying for the 11.4 kilowatt, they recommend only up to 5 kilowatts. So I don't know which is correct, which is not. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out. So that's kind of one of the reasons I got the Growatt 5 kW, is to kind of play it safe. Plus, the building I'm going to put it on, right now I don't have the greatest connection from that building to the main panel. I can probably support 2,000, 2,500 watts fairly easily with the wiring that I've got. I'm going to have to upgrade that at some point, but so anyways, we'll put about 2,000 watts of solar panels on there just to try this out. It should be pretty interesting to see what happens. We'll monitor the frequency and do some graphing to see what exactly transpires. I guess one of the reasons for doing this is it's actually, well, it could be cheaper to do it this way than buying one big inverter or two. Well, I probably shouldn't say that. One big inverter would be probably cheaper than doing multiple inverters. But we're kind of restricted with Solus to, well, most of the inverters were kind of restricted to about 11 to 12 kilowatts. Um, you know what we have available here, unless we go three phase, but none of that stuff is really out and available yet in the U.S. So that's the reason for trying this. Like, you know, if we do the Growatt and the Solus, that gives us about 16 kilowatts of usable power. If you know everything's maxed out. If we can do up to the nameplate, then we're talking about 22 kilowatts. And doing that is cheaper than buying two Solus inverters. It's not quite as efficient, but I don't know, for my application it's probably not too much less efficient, because the system that I'm setting up, the equipment that I'm going to be running is going to take it up, you know, right off the AC. So I don't think it's going to matter too much, really. It probably be about the same as, you know, if I run 2 Growatts versus putting other Solus on the system, it probably comes out to about the same thing, efficiency-wise. Now, if I'm going to AC couple and charge batteries, we're losing some efficiency there. But they're both, I think they're both, let me see, I think they're both about 90, yeah. So the Growatt is 98.4% efficient, and where are we here for the Solus? Solus is 97.6% efficient, max efficiency. So if this is right, then I'm actually gaining efficiency, as long as I'm not doing as long as I'm not doing the conversion from AC to DC to charge the battery. I'm actually gaining some efficiency. So some of the specs on the Growatt, we've got max recommended PV power is 7 kilowatts. Max DC voltage is 550 volts. So that's your panels. You can series panels up to 550 volts. The start voltage is 100 volts. Nominal is 360 volts. MPPT voltage is 80 to 550 volts. It's got 2 MPPTs, and they only want 1 string per MPPT, so you can run 2 strings on it. Max input current is 13.5 amps. Then we've got AC nominal power is 5,000 watts, 5,000 VA. Max output current 22.7 amps. The rest of the features are pretty much standard on any modern inverter. So I've got it over here. Let's unbox it and take a look at what we've got. All right. Instruction packet. Odds and ends. This inverter has This plug for the AC out, let's see if we can get that in there. So there's no internal wiring that you have to do. You just hook your AC cable up to that. Open it up here. So you'd get an SO cable. I think it's rated for number 10 wire. Looks like about number 10. Let me see if it's in the specs here. No, it doesn't say in the specs, but I think it's about a number 10. It's not in the instruction manual somewhere. So you would just strip the cables, put them in there, and then tighten the screws. And then this is the other side of the connector. Just snaps in there like that. And we've got some MC4s. Got some MC4s with it. And this is the plug for the communications cable. Same thing as the power, just put the wire in there, and then there's little screws that you have to tighten on the wire. So there's no crimping or anything other than the MC4s you got to crimp them on. And we've got a Wi-Fi dongle. Got a power switch on the bottom. I don't know if that's just for the Wi-Fi dongle or if that turns the inverter on and off, but it's just a USB that you plug into on the inverter. And a mounting bracket. There we go with the inverter. Set it on here. So it's got a little LCD display. Got a power button there. It's not an actual tactile button, it's just maybe a capacitive button or something. There's all the connections on the unit. So you've got your AC input here, and then this is called Syscom. This is your communications port, 485 port. Then we've got the USB port. That's for your Wi-Fi dongle. You have two sets of MC4 connectors for your solar panels, and then a pretty beefy DC disconnect switch. That's all there is on here, so it's a very simple unit to connect. Just hook up to your AC power. If you want to do a power meter or monitoring through the RS-485. You can hook that up here, plug in your Wi-Fi dongle, and connect up your solar panel. And you're on. Let's see what the specs, if we missed anything here, what the specs say. Input voltage range is 80 to 550 volts DC. Max input 550 volts DC. Max input current for the MPPTs is 13.5 amps. Default grid voltage 240 volt AC, split phase. Now this unit you're not going to get 240 120 out of it. It's just a straight 240. You'd have to run like a transformer if you wanted to get 110 out of it, but well, that doesn't even make sense because it's a grid tie inverter, so you're not going to use it in an off-grid situation other than what we're doing here. And we don't need 120 volts out of this thing. Range of grid voltage is 211 to 264 volts AC. Range of grid frequency 59.5 to 60.5 hertz, which plays into that IEEE standard that we were talking about. That's about it. That's about it for this inverter. Hopefully she works the way we intended to.